Student portfolios are important to have in the classroom. First, you have to kind of think, what's the purpose of a portfolio? Well, the purpose is to share student work and for students to look over the information that they've learned over a course of a year or years. What our kind of goal is with Pickerington is to start a portfolio, as early as maybe third or fourth grade, and then students every single year build upon that. And so by the time they were a senior, they would have a finished product of their school and what that kind of looked like. It's also to keep track of different progress over the course of the year. With my portfolios, I like to often have students show the process of their learning and not just the final product. Because I believe that if you show the process of their learning, it's going to show and have more conversation about the different failures or the successes that they experience before their final project. Parents and everybody can see the draft and how they got to that final step, and it kind of shows the student thinking. Also, having student reflections. You might want to focus on what are the building goals that your district has and focus in on that. And so, what kind of evidence could you have in a portfolio? You could have evaluating word problems for math to close read each problem and identify keywords. You might use student STAR scores, iReady scores, common assessments, formative assessments, different assessments that students take over the course of your class. Writing samples. So anything that the student might write, it might be really cool if they got to pick which writing piece went into their portfolio. Screenshots of their different progress. You could use voice by using audio samples. So like students reading aloud or students using Flipgrid to show off their answers. And then reflections. And then your audience, make sure you make the parents involved in this process. Have them students conference with their parents and show them their student portfolio. This is great for parent-teacher conferences, and maybe every Friday, once a month, the students show off their portfolio to their students. Students can put in, their goals for the year. What are their strengths? What do they need to work on? What reflections do they have? What data? There might be a pride page where it talks about what would they like to do when they grow up? What challenges are there? And what is their dream job? Make sure you kind of help them organize their portfolio. Maybe you might want to use different folders. You might want to do different tabs depending on what platform you're using. There's so many different options. I'm going to focus on 2, but there's so many more. There is Seesaw. Seesaw is a place where students can upload information, evidence, and then parents can get a notification once their student has placed their work into Seesaw. I use Seesaw in my classroom. I loved it. My parents were very active, and the kids love seeing comments from their parents. So this is a really good one, especially for younger elementary students. For 6th grade and up, I would suggest starting a Google site. And so here's an example of a Google site. This is a team. They put all of their subjects together, and then they've got different pages. So on the first page, it links to different things about the student. Then they has a goal page. So what are the goals that the student might have? Allow the students to make their portfolio customized to them. Don't just use a sample for them. ELA, again, you might have goals, you might have writing samples, reflections, data, and so on. And you might just go over these different pieces with the students, and as the year goes on, you'll add to their portfolio. And then do quarter checks with them to show their progress and how they are doing. So again, I would suggest using student portfolios, Seesaw for younger, and then Google Sites for older.